Welcome everybody to Adams Polish's Wednesday Live. Today's topic was something actually I was going to touch on during kind of the winter prep segment we did. I guess that was about a month ago now. But for winter, I like to actually put a product we have called Tire Armor on my tires because it sort of adds some protection, but really it keeps my tires looking good for a longer period of time, and I don't have to spend as much time scrubbing my tires because it kind of locks it in. So for today's video, I'm going to show you essentially the prep part of it, and then we'll get into applying the product. I know we had some requests for doing a tour of the B&B facility. Because of the time right now of us getting ready for Black Friday, they are absolutely slammed. So wasn't good timing for that, but I think here in the next few weeks we'll be able to do that with them. It'd be a really cool conversation with Chris and just to see B&B blending. So we're gonna postpone that. I figured this would be a decent one this time of year anyways. Anybody that's in a little bit more harsh weather, I think this is a great process to do. So I'm actually personally excited to do this because I've been wanting to do this for the last month or so. So I generally do this tire armor when I'm doing my winter prep. So, we talked about doing like one-step polish, then applying graphene ceramic spray coating, and that's to everything. That includes even the fender wells. And I'll show you here in a second. When I blast it off, you'll see the effect of what the spray coating is doing in my fender wells. But once I'm done kind of doing that whole process, the last thing I do is apply tire armor. And it's a pretty cool product. It's sort of self-leveling, so really it's just a matter of getting it into all the nooks and crannies of your tire. This is a little bit more unique. I have more off-road style tires. If you have more low-profile tires or more like standard, all-weather tires, a little bit easier to apply, but again, this product is something you want to like get into every nook and cranny. It makes it look better. It's more effective. So yeah. And I'm trying to think of anything else. I know it was on Monday, but happy Veterans Day. We're huge supporters of veterans here at Adams Polishes, and all the people that fight for our freedoms here in America. I mean, one of the most important things in our country. So very appreciative of all the veterans out there. Trying to think of anything else. We have some stuff coming up. I think coming up next week and beyond, you're going to see a lot of, movement around here at Adams Polishes, especially like online for everybody here. So I'm excited for you guys to see that. But yeah.
Do you apply a tire dressing on top of tire armor, or is this the dressing?
So somebody said, do you apply a dressing on top of tire armor? Initially, when you first put it on, it goes on and looks like a dressing, and it's going to hold the color for an extended period of time, but you can put a dressing on top just to make it look that much better. So you'll see when I put it on, it almost goes on like tire shine almost, or like graphene tire dressing. But after it's been on there for a month or so, then if you want to, make it look a little bit better, then you can go ahead and throw a dressing on top. But really the main reason for tire armor is not as much the look as it is how much it holds your tires looking good for a longer period of time. Like when I get into winter, especially like when you are washing your car like at the pay and spray, you don't have as much time to spend 5 to 10 minutes on each wheel and tire. So having the ability to just kind of blast them off and then move on is very important, because you don't want to take up too much time in the pay and spray. So tire armor is a tool for you to be able to quickly clean them without needing to do like a crazy amount of scrubbing and things like that. So and I'll say this, the prep part of this is probably one of the most important pieces, because it's kind of like ceramic coating. Like if you don't polish your car before you put on like a 9-year ceramic coating, you're locking in whatever that is, right? So like any swirl marks, any scratches, any oxidation, granted it will make it look a little bit better, but it's like you're locking that in with a layer of ceramic on top. Same with this, like we want to get these tires as clean as possible before we put the tire armor on, because it's gonna lock that in essentially. So, and I know like wheel and tire cleaning is pretty standard, but I'll talk about kind of a good product to use for this, which is the wheel and tire cleaner. You know, tire and rubber cleaner is a great product to get these tires looking back to black. This just pulls out more stuff out of the tires. So I'm gonna opt to use this. And even if I was cleaning my wheels, because I'll do everything, it's just proper procedure to like, I don't want to just clean the tires, and my wheels are dirty as well. So, you know, if I had performance wheels that had, or performance brakes that had a lot of metallic brake dust coming off, I would use our standard wheel cleaner, but I would still use this to clean the tires before tire armor. So,
WJK says, I've used this product and I've noticed the performance varies by tire brand. Michelin's seem to hold the shine the best. Bridgestone's not as much.
yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the tire manufacturers use different hardness of rubber. So, you know, some like these tires are kind of medium hardness. We were just cleaning some Duratrax yesterday, the like Goodyear Wrangler Duratrax. That's crazy soft rubber. So I would say generally when it's a little bit softer of a rubber, the look kind of sustains better, because it sort of like goes into the pores of the rubber versus like hard. It's harder to even out. Not really, but you know, I think for me, the tire armor is less about the shininess sustaining as it is the protection on it to make cleaning it easier. So, so yeah, it definitely varies on different tire manufacturers, but I would say like with proper prep and proper application, it's gonna look good, you know, no matter what. So,
Chester Thomas says, nice ride, by the way, Joe.
oh, thanks, Chester. If you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you. I'm ready. No, I like this car a lot. It's tough. I've thought about upgrading and doing all this stuff, but this has been paid off for like 10 years, and it's, to be honest with you, it's like when you have a not so perfect car, it's like easier to digest if it gets dirty and things like that. So, and I have kids, so that it gets dirty all the time, but it's really fun to get into it, and it's a little bit more unique because it's single stage paint. So like polishing and stuff is pretty fun. It oxidizes, so like I have to make sure I have ceramic on this. That's why I apply the spray coating twice a year. But yeah, I mean, pretty cool car. There's some suspension stuff I need to address before I take it back up to the mountains, but you know, that just requires money, which when you have kids, you don't have that. Okay, so let's get into the prep part. So generally when I'm gonna clean my wheels and tires, I'll blast them off first. In this case, I want the product to go directly onto the tire. So my first round of this, I'm not even gonna spray it onto the wheels. I'm just gonna spray the tires right now. And you'll see, these are actually like pretty clean. I cleaned these not too long ago, but you'll see how much of this product, it starts to pull out the brown. And essentially my goal is however long or however many repetitions it takes me to make it to where I'm scrubbing the tires and the foam that gets generated by this with the scrubbing is white, that's where I need to get to. The first initial will probably be a little bit more brown and orange. Maybe another time will be a little bit more brown and orange again, but I want to get to the point the foam from scrubbing is white. That means that I've essentially taken everything out of the tires. So just taking wheel and tire cleaner.
Ken Wilson wants to know how long tire armor will last.
Tire armor, it kind of varies. The tire armor, how long it lasts. You know, I'd say the more harsh weather and use or like cleaning you do of it, scrubbing it, the less it will last. But we're talking about months of tire protection with tire armor. So yeah, I think we rate it at like 3 months. I probably get about that here in Colorado. But again, the fact that it's on there makes it really easy that I don't have to scrub it. I can just blast my tires off and they look pretty good. So I'm not doing a lot of agitate. I'd say agitation is the one thing that's going to remove it more than anything. So spray it on there. You can see even down here, you can see the brown that's like seeping out of it. And then when I get into scrubbing it, you'll even see how nasty this is.
David Boyce says, "Afternoon, everyone. Joe, what are you using to darken your wheel wells? Create VRT, do the weird, and then put in a spray bottle to darken the said wheel arches, say, in the fender wells."
So, that was David, you said?
Yep, David Boyce.
David Boyce, that's a good question. You know, we have a few products to darken your fender wells, and you know, I would say if you're willing to spend the money, graphene ceramic spray coating advanced, I really like using that. Not all the time, you know. So I like using that because it protects it. So it actually beads water, and makes cleaning it a lot easier. But undercarriage spray, I would say, is probably the best product for that. VRT's okay. The thing about VRT is when you dress the fender wells or undercarriage, you want something that is somewhat of a thin spray. In VRT, you have to dilute quite a bit to get it to be able to atomize when you spray it. And so undercarriage spray is actually a better product for that. And I personally, it makes it look jet black. Like, I'd say undercarriage spray makes it look the darkest out of any product we have in our line. It's just not a product necessarily that is super long lasting. Like, I'd say you have to do it every second wash to really keep it looking good. So undercarriage spray I would recommend. And to be honest with you, undercarriage spray in our line is very, very popular within the off-roading community because it can make a lot of the metal accents and armor that goes on off-road cars. It makes it look really good. So, but protection-wise, you know, I tend to say this about everything. Like, getting a base layer of ceramic on there is going to make cleaning easier in the long run, and then you can dress on top of that. So, like, I'd recommend spray coating first, and then the next time you go to clean it, undercarriage spray on top of that. So,
can you use tire armor over graphene tire dressing?
Can you use tire armor over graphene tire dressing? I would say flip-flop that. Tire armor first as your foundation, and then graphene tire dressing on top of it when needed.
Because you want tire armor on the bare.
Yeah, you want tire armor to adhere to the bare rubber versus like the graphene tire dressing. That's just not, it's a dressing. It lasts maybe a month, you know, and especially if you scrub your tires the next go around with the wheel and tire cleaner, it's going to be gone. So I would say create the foundation with tire armor first, and then you can dress. It doesn't matter. Graphene tire dressing, tire shine, VRT, anything on top of tire armor is good. So I just scrubbed these. I'm going to rinse this off, and while I'm rinsing this, I will also rinse my wheels. And you can actually see on my wheels, they're beating water like crazy because I sprayed the graphene ceramic spray coating advanced on those when I was doing my winter prep. So go ahead.
Can you layer tire armor?
Yeah, you can layer. Yes, that's a good question. Somebody said, "Can you layer tire armor?" The answer is yes. And the only time I would say to layer tire armor is to get more shine out of it from your initial application. I wouldn't say it makes it more thick and lasts longer. It's just more of a look thing. So if you want it more of like the graphene tire dressing look, which is like a medium shine, one layer of tire armor is perfect. If you want the tire shine look, where it's like a wet tire look, 2 layers of tire armor is better.
And Dan brought up a good point about undercarriage spray. He said it'll get too sticky on carpet line.
Yeah, anytime you have carpet lined fenders, you don't want to even spray cleaning product in that. This is your friend. This pressure washer and this brush right here, the pressure washer does most of the work of getting things out of like grass and stuff like that out of your carpeted fender wells. And then using this to scrub lightly will agitate it and get more out. But you don't need to spray tire and rubber cleaner, wheel and tire cleaner, or any sort of cleaning product into your carpeted fender well, and you don't need to. You should not spray undercarriage spray into that either. Carpeted fender wells they're just kind of they're there. You don't really do much to it except scrub and blast, essentially. I do want you guys to see this. I'm gonna spray this like kind of my suspension in the undercarriage, even like my frame. And Chris will show you, but you can really see the effect that the spray coating has underneath there. So it's just, it beads water like crazy and falls off. So all the dirt that's on there is just coming off so much easier. So I don't even necessarily need to scrub that out that bad. You know, and if this had mud in it, the mud would come off really easy. So again, like you can see the effect of our winter preparation of spraying the coating into the fender well, onto the wheel, and onto my paint. It's just gonna bead water and make cleaning in the winter just 1,000% easier. So, yeah. All right, so sprayed off the tire. Now I've sprayed off the wheel, and now I'm gonna do another cleaning repetition on the tire, but all the while I'm also gonna clean the wheel at the same time. So spray more onto the tire. And again, like I said before, our goal here is to get the foam when I'm scrubbing the tire to white, essentially. I'll spray the wheel down as well.
Do you want another question?
I'll take as many questions as you want, Chris. I'm here for them. They're not here for me.
918 Sonic Supra says, what would you use if you have rubber from your tires stuck on your paint and trim from racing at the track?
That's a good question. 918 Supra, first off, cool car. If you have rubber on your paint after your like a day at the racetrack, first off, I would blast it off with a pressure washer. So any like loose rubber that's on there that can come off, a pressure washer is the first thing. And actually, we have a product, you guys are very familiar with it. Tire and rubber cleaner actually does an amazing job at removing that stuff. That's the least aggressive method that you could use. So I would say, like, oftentimes if you have rubber chunks, they'll come off from pressure washer, but then it will be stuck like onto the side. You take a gray microfiber applicator, spray tire and rubber cleaner into that, spray it onto the paint, and then just with the touch of your hand, just go over it, and you'll see it will start to almost like melt it away. If it's extremely stubborn, then I would move on to our product called TAR or TAR, which is tar and adhesive remover. That's like a solvent-based product, and that works great too, but it's just a little more aggressive. It's solvent-based, so solvent drying on the surface of things is not great. So tire and rubber cleaner first. If that works, then you're good. And tire and rubber cleaner is super safe on your paint. Like, it could dry on there and not hurt anything. So
But tar you don't want to dry.
tar I wouldn't let dry on your paint, no.
Ken says, so how would you recommend cleaning tires after applying tire armor? Like once the tire is protected, is cleaning any different?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's you don't need to be as aggressive. Like these brushes, this Fender brush is a stiff bristle brush. It's very stiff bristle. Same with this one. This is just flagged bristles, meaning like they take the fibers and they split them. So this one is like really aggressive for scrubbing. You can hear it. You know, this one being flagged, I think does a better job of letting the product get into all the nooks and crannies and work. So I would say after you have tire armor on here, you could even get away with spraying product and using the wheel face brush, which is even more soft bristles, and just kind of running this over, and that will clean it just as well. So a lot less aggressive. And the more harsh of scrubbing you do, the more it removes the tire armor. So once you have it on there, when it gets into the cleaning portion, really you could, like, you know, you use this for your fenders like this. You don't even need this one at that point with tire armor on there. You could just set this aside and then use your wheel, like you could use your wheel face brush like this, just to like go over it for a second, and then you can go straight onto your wheels.
If you want to dip it in the water just in case you got dirt on the brush.
I don't think it matters that much, but you can, yeah, definitely. To be honest with you, like a pressure washer going over tire armor is going to do a lot of the work already. So there's not even going to be that much dirt and grime on there. And, you know, realistically, like when you're cleaning wheels and tires, a lot of the cleaning of it is not dirt and grime. Like the pressure washer blasts a lot of that off. It's more like mold release agent and tire blooming, old tire dressings is what you're really agitating off of the surface. So.
Dan says that's exactly what I do, Joe. I have a second wheel brake brush to more gently clean the tires.
Yeah.
Treated with tire armor.
You can see that the foam is like white now. I can see in some, it's kind of like mainly in here that it's still a little bit orange, which is like probably the hardest part to clean. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to do a third round of it just for good measure. Because this to me, I'm willing to spend extra time cleaning my rubber tires before I put tire armor on, just to make sure that the tire armor goes on the right way. So.
And Chester asks if the wheel or the tire needs to be dry when you apply tire armor.
Yes, it does. And Chester, that's a good point, and I'm going to talk about that here in a second. I actually have a handheld mini air cannon to accelerate the drying process because it's only 50 degrees today, so product's not drying very quick.
And watching a tire dry live is not exactly gripping.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys really want to see that, I could paint a wall. We could watch paint dry on a wall, you know?
Is there some grass we could watch grow?
Exactly, yeah.
Rodney says, would a couple rounds of glass polish remove or moving graphene spray coating advance before applying the graphene glass coating?
Yeah, probably. Rodney said, would a couple rounds of glass polish remove the like a spray coating on your glass before you put the graphene glass coating, the specific graphene glass coating on? Yeah, I think so. You know, I tend to say, Rodney, like if you put the spray coating onto your glass, as long as it has like a hydrophobic effect, I just leave it. There's no like rush to get that off. You know, I think it's still protected. It's still going to have a similar effect. It's just not going to last nearly as long as the specific graphene glass coating. So, you know, I would say like,
Just wait until it's
yeah, like let it run its course, you know, after a few months. And once you see like when the rain hits it and the water flattens out and you have to start using your wiper blades more often, that's a great time to then move into the specific glass coating. But you will notice like this isn't the ceramic coating. My car is just dirty, sorry. But you can see like exactly where my wiper blades didn't hit. And generally, like if I clean this car and this had spray coating on the windshield, you would still see like the film of the ceramic spray coating. It would look darker in these areas. And so like generally this portion where your wiper blades are going across, it takes the spray coating off much faster. And so you'll see it at that point. Then I would say do the glass polish to try to get everything nice and even, and then put the graphene glass coating on top.
Detailer68 says hello from Russia.
Hello from Russia. Wow.
That's cool.
Detailer68. Well, welcome.
What time is it in Russia, Detailer68?
Yeah, what time is it in Russia? Time to clean a car.
He and Anton are competing for oddest times of the day.
Yeah, I know, right? I think Anton will win, but so look, you can
I don't know
see
if Anton's here this week. I haven't seen him yet.
like the rubber is very much bare. Like you can see as it dries. Super even, but it's not clearly not dressed because it still looks like a little bit like charcoal gray almost. This third round of wheel and tire cleaner, I'm more focused on not this broad surface because we clearly got this part clean. It's more inside of these letters and this texture that's closer to the bead of the tire. So I'm just gonna focus on spraying into these letters like this and into the bead of the tire. I don't even really need to do the full spraying of the tire.
Apparently it's 11:25 p.m. in Russia.
Oh wow, nighttime.
Staying up.
You should be at the club. I'm sure Russia has sweet clubs too. Like they have cool like house music and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like they would.
So in this case, I sprayed the wheel and tire cleaner into the area of the bead and the lettering. And now I'm going to use the trim and lug nut brush, which is somewhat of a soft and hard, medium kind of hardness of bristle. And I'm just going to run this inside of the letters.
We got a request from Cadillac XT5.
Okay.
In the future, can you do a video on the best way to remove road paint?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And Dan said that's a great idea, but we might have a hard time finding a car.
Yeah. I'll just say this, Mr.
If anybody's in Colorado and you have road paint on your car,
yeah, there you
hit
go.
us up.
Yeah, Mr. Cadillac, it might be that's a pretty rare scenario, but you know what I'll do is I'll go look around in our parking lot. I'm sure there's somebody. There's so much construction in Colorado right now. It's like, I'm sure somebody has it. So I'm kind of going both ways. Like I'm going this way. The lettering is running kind of from the outside of the tire to the inside, so I want to go with those grooves.
And you mentioned the bead before, and before I had this job, I didn't know what that was, so you want to just define
Yeah,
it?
the bead of the tire is where it meets the wheel or rim. We don't much call them rims anymore, but yeah, the bead of the tire is right where they connect.
Oscar says, "Hello. If I don't have a closed room like a garage, can I apply graphene ceramic coating in an open space?"
Yes. Who asked that?
Oscar.
Oscar.
And regular coating, not spray.
Yes, you can apply the regular coating outside. I will say it cures much faster and like a non-temperature controlled. If you want to be able to control the curing portion of the coating, I would do it on a more mild temperature day. So like 60s is like kind of ideal. The one thing the one thing you could do is let me just spray this off really quick. But the one thing you can do, I've done this before when I've coated a car outside, is you can essentially do park the car so half of the car is shaded. So like right now the sun is pointing directly at the passenger side of my car, so this whole side of the car is in the shade. And what happens is the side that is in the direct sun, this side, even though it's 55 degrees here today, my paint is probably 80 degrees. It's more hot. And when your paint is in the direct sun, because most cars are made from metal, unless you have a super performance car, the heat radiates from inside out, from like the metal coming out to the paint. And so the surface will be warmer than the actual ambient temperature around you. And so that side might be 80 degrees. This side, like, come feel this, Chris. Come feel this side. And just, you can feel this side of my paint.
Yeah.
It's warm, right? Now feel that side.
Yeah, like the shadow will be ambient temperature, and the rest will be heated by the sun.
I bet it's like 20 to 25 degrees cooler.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm suggesting is that you can coat your whole car, but what I do suggest is like, and this might be a hassle, but focus on the side in the shade first. So you're working on a cool surface. It's going to help the curing process not be accelerated so fast. It's going to give you time to work with the coating. And then once you're done coating this side, flip the car around and then coat the other side once the panel gets a little bit more cool. that would be like my suggestion on doing that. It will literally make your life so much easier. So that is like a kind of a pro tip, I guess you could call it, to make the coating process easier. Because I know, like, and this was even with the spray coating, I had graphene ceramic spray coated a vehicle right there where that tracker is, sat exactly right there. And when I put the spray coating on, it cured like so fast. I had to wipe it off before the rainbow even went away. And so I fought with it the whole time. I even had to fix certain areas with polish and reapply, and it was a total hassle. And it didn't bother me because I know how to navigate that. But if you're a little bit newer to the ceramic coating thing, like making your surfaces and your environment easier to work with, that's the key. And I would say too, like, if you don't personally have a garage, if you know somebody with a garage, ask them if you could say, like, hey, can I come over to your house for 2 hours? I'm going to ceramic coat my car. Can I just do this in your garage? And if they're a good friend, they'll say yes.
And also, I feel like if you live in like an apartment building like I do, you could park on the side of the building that's shading the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And the entire car is in the shade.
Yeah, Chris brings up a good point. Like, yeah, you can, if you live in an apartment complex, you know, there might be a parking spot that's next to a building that shades the whole car, and then you can do it at that time, you know. But I do recommend, like, I wouldn't save it for nighttime. You need the visual of seeing the coating curing. You need that so much that lighting is very important. So being able to have some ambient lighting when you're outside is a good thing.
Yeah, Chester says, I have a church that has a warehouse, and I used that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna just essentially expedite the drying process of this and use the air cannon.
Dan says, Dan also mentioned using coating to take care of high spots on coatings if you're particularly going outside.
Yeah, definitely.
You mentioned that in the YouTube video.
Yeah, and actually it brings up a good point from Dan. Dan said, like, you can use the spray coating to manage high spots, like if you're doing it outside, if it's curing really fast. And I would say, to be honest with you on that point, I never coat a car without spray coating if I'm doing the regular coating. I always have it with me, partially because I like to coat every surface, like the grill and places I can't use that little applicator with the graphene ceramic coating advanced. But I do like having that for that Dan's purpose of being able to, let's say that you put it on, like you did it in the sun, you put it on, it cured really fast, and you went to wipe it off, and you just, like, it was really hard to wipe off. You just pull your spray coating, one spray into the bigger gray microfiber applicator, go over it really fast, and then wipe it off immediately. And you can really manage it doing it like that too. So that's a really good suggestion, you know. What? I mean, yeah, you can watch. We have a video called "Oh No, I Screwed Up My Ceramic Coating." It doesn't really talk about the spray coating as like an aid in application, but it more talks about when you have high spots, how to fix them. But that actually might be a good live topic of, like, showing how you can use the spray coating with the regular ceramic coating to manage, like, the curing process and manage high spots and things. So guys, turn down your volume really quick. Okay, that is perfect. That's exactly what I want it to look like. And I can feel this. I mean, this is just pure bare rubber. Like it's just, this is exactly what I want before I start getting into the application. So, you know,
how important is it for it to be like completely 100% dry, no water at all?
I mean, if you get it 98% dry, I think you're okay. But, you know, it's better for it to be completely dry. Essentially what it would do is just dilute the product, but it doesn't ruin the application process like it would if your car was wet and you tried to apply a ceramic coating. It's just not the same type of formula. So I think for me, taking the right steps, even if it takes me a little extra time, saves me time in the long run. You know, so my suggestion, if this is a process you're gonna do, like this should be, you should clean your wheels and tires. Spend extra time cleaning your tires. If you know you're gonna do this, wash your whole car. And then when you're done washing it and drying it, because generally, when, you know, I mean, I'm not saying everyone does this, but like when I dry my car, I have an air cannon with me. Whether it's the handheld or I have the Air Cannon Junior at my house, I will blow out all the nooks and crannies with the paint first. I'll dry it with my towel because I don't want water spots on my paint. And then I'll just take my Air Cannon Junior and I'll just dry the tires all at the same time. And then always the last step when I'm doing my detailing or washing cars is dressing the tires at the end. So instead of doing like graphene tire dressing, I end up doing tire armor instead. But I did spend the extra time to clean them properly. So we can get into tire armor now. Let's move this over. So tire armor, I have a few tools. Not to say that you need all of these, but if you do have all of these, it's gonna make the application process that much easier. So I have actually the small interior brush, so very, very soft bristles. Actually feels like my new cat. Super, super soft. This is like a makeup brush, to be honest. Like I never put on makeup, but maybe that's what it looks like. I also have this like multi-purpose brush. So this brush actually, I think a lot of people use it for interior stuff. Just a bigger brush. I actually personally use this to dress my tires. And I 1000% use this every time to put tire armor on my tires. So this brush is very important to me. And and then I also have the block sponge. So these three tools mixed with the tire armor is probably the best thing to use to apply this. I would say like if you have this bigger brush but you don't have the smaller brush, I think it's fine. If you have this smaller brush but you don't have the bigger brush, I think that's okay too. This makes it a little bit easier. So, good?
Should be back, yeah.
Okay, sorry, technical difficulties. Okay, so the one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to start spraying this onto the tire. This is tire dressing you can because number one, it's easy to wipe away. Okay, so with this, it actually dries. It's almost like if I okay, this might show how old I am, but when I was in school, because I never paid attention, I would take Elmer's glue, I would put some in my hand, I'd rub it around, I'd wait for it to dry, and then I would peel it off like it was skin. This would almost do the same thing. It's a little bit more thin, not thick like Elmer's glue, but it dries to like an acrylic coating onto your tires, which means if you get it onto your wheels, it's going to dry on there as well, and it's a lot harder to remove on here. So instead of getting it all over my wheel, I want to focus on spraying it into my applicators and then go and put it on. Okay, so what I like to do is I'm going to set the brush aside first, and I'm going to take the block applicator, and what I can do is actually, yeah, so I'll spray that's 3 sprays into the applicator, and I'm going to start putting it onto the broad surfaces. And you'll notice with this product, it's like white when it goes on, like milky almost, like this. Okay, and I'm essentially getting it onto all the, oh gosh, I'm good. Getting it onto all the broad surfaces. And I'm not like overly worried about getting it on the very bottom, because I'll just move my car forward or backward like 3 feet and then get it on there. Do just a few more sprays. I'm just kind of getting this on the broad surfaces right now. And then once I've done that, then I'll take my multi-purpose brush and I'm going to spray it into the brush like so. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it on here. I'll go with the grooves, I'll dab it in, move it around. But this is about coverage, okay? Not as much about how much you put on. So you can see like my initial application, it's like dripping down. So I'll just pick it up with the brush and move it over.
Just trying to get it in all the cracks and crevices.
Yes. As Adam would say, the nooks and crannies. Really focusing on like this tread block too, and all the textured areas. I actually really like this product. It is like, I'd say it's like a little bit time consuming, but the effectiveness of it is really, really good.
Dan says Joe's channeling his inner Bob Ross right now.
Yeah. See all these little trees? Just a little swipe like that.
Hair's not quite big enough though.
You know what, dude? If I could grow an Afro, Chris, I 1,000% would. I'm not even kidding. And I would say too, like, again, like we talked about with the coating of like doing this in like direct sunlight where it's hot and things are drying and curing fast. If you notice, I actually have this, my car pointed, this tire pointed away from the sun. It's gonna help this curing process because essentially, like, because this is, you can see it like looks awful right there, right? But if you look up here, it's self-leveling. And so with a little bit more mild temperature and not in direct sunlight, it's letting the tire armor self-level. It's giving it more time to, and it actually ends up looking better in the long run. So
Chester says, the gross will go away.
yeah, the nastiness, the awfulness.
Yeah. The gross milk layer will go away.
Yeah. Just a little bit more with the larger brush.
Somebody asked earlier for a video on talon pad cleaning.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe we could do talon pad cleaning and brushes.
That's actually a perfect topic because we have a new product coming out that is aids in, I don't know if cleaning towels would be the right way to say it, but something along those lines. So we'll definitely do that.
Can you apply tire shine over tire armor?
Can you apply tire shine over tire armor? 1000% yes. I would say you don't need to right off the bat, like immediately, but you know, maybe after a couple washes.
You want the tire armor to dry completely.
Yeah, like I put this on and I'm just gonna, I would not put anything on top of this after. I would wait until the next time you clean. So grabbing the smaller brush now, spraying a couple sprays. Now I'm focusing on this texture where the bead is. So it's just, this brush makes it easier to control this portion so I don't get it all over my wheel.
And if you get it on the wheel, if you just immediately wipe it off.
Just immediately wipe it off, yeah. Which I am getting it on the wheel, which is fine. I'm not too worried about it because I will go grab a towel and wipe it off.
Chester says, how do you clean these brushes afterwards?
You know, hot water. I would let them soak in hot water for, 30 minutes to an hour maybe.
But no chemical needed?
I don't think you really need chemical. Maybe like talon pad revitalizer, but yeah, hot water mainly. All-purpose cleaner can work too to
It's
clean.
not like it dries instantly.
I mean, it does. This will make the brushes like almost crusty. But the hot water really is the thing that's like helping. I would probably say talon pad revitalizer and hot water. But I think if you put some talon pad revitalizer like in a bucket and then let this soak in there, that's probably the best thing for it.
Dan says, if you do end up getting some tire armor on the wheel and forget to wipe it off immediately, parentheses, me,
Yep, I did the same thing.
hand polish and a blue hex grip will remove the dried tire armor without too much trouble.
Yeah. Dan, you and I have done the same thing. So after I've done this portion, I'm actually going to just spray I'm just little sprays at a time. I'm doing like half sprays like this. Like a half spray like that. But I'm going to now focus in painting it into the tread block. Try to knock down the excess as best as I can. And I'll be honest, this product, tire armor, there's customers that love this product, especially like some of the off-roading guys, and they legitimately won't use any other tire dressing. They'll just put this on, let it run its course, and then they'll reapply it. Now, one thing I do like to do is, after I kind of get this painted into the tread block like so, is I'll just take my block applicator and just run it over this to like even it. Oh gosh, keep doing that. I'm good.
Ken Wilson says, when we did my truck on the live, we used H2O garden gloss because it enhanced the plastic. Would that be a good product for plastic sheds or tables or etc. for outdoor use?
Mr. Ken Wilson.
Have you ever tried that?
Shocker, Ken Wilson's on here. I'm just kidding. You know,
Or
I would
regulars?
say H2O garden gloss, not so much for like tables and chairs, just because like as good as H2O garden gloss is for making plastic trim look good like on your car, it's more of like a process driven product of, you know, applying it to a wet car. So you're like drying and sealing the car all at the same time. Um, you know, I would either recommend like if you're trying to protect um, tables and chairs for like outdoor furniture, spray coating is a way better option just because it's going to end up lasting longer and it will enhance the plastic as well. So, you know, I'd say spray coating is a better option.
Yeah,
Just
Dan said spray coating or CS3.
yeah, CS3 is okay. It's just not going to last for anything. Spray coating is a pretty like mild protectant.
You mean CS3?
CS3, sorry, yeah. Okay. I like it. Looks pretty good. Some of this is still kind of wet, which is going to even out eventually, but you know, that looks great. And you can actually see like if Chris comes over here and kind of gets a nice shot and moves the camera a little bit, you can see the gloss factor that it provides. So that, as it cures and dries, that will stay looking like that for quite a while. You know, I would say like a month down the road, the shine will dissipate a little bit, but still look extremely rich, dark black. But oh, we should take that as a social image.
Yeah.
That looks amazing. Show that back tire, Chris. It hasn't been cleaned recently, but it doesn't have anything on it. You can really see like the difference in the look. Like that looks great to me. It really like gives a nice finish to the tire. And the fact that it's protected now for a few months, like that is a huge benefit to me. I really, really like the way that came out. And again, that's like part of this product. That's its intention is when you first put it on, there's a clear look to it. Like it looks like I just applied tire shine or graphene tire dressing. Like for most people, if that product wasn't sitting on that wheel, they would think that I just dressed those tires with graphene tire dressing. But then when you tell them like that is an acrylic protection agent that's going to be on there for a long time, I think they'll be like, oh, really? Wow.
Chris G says, does tire armor last months when washing twice weekly? I like more of the satin shine of graphene tire dressing.
Yeah, so will tire armor last when you're washing twice a week? Is that what it said? Twice a week? Yeah, so yes, it will. But I would say we kind of touched on this earlier. Like your aggressiveness of cleaning your tires now is going to be reduced. So like I have the wheel face brush in my wheel cleaning bucket that I use to clean the face of the wheel. You know, I can use that on my tires now. I don't need to scrub these like crazy, you know. So even just like a blast of the pressure washer is going to get a lot of dirt off of that. But this sort of locks in the pores of the rubber, so like you don't get as much tire blooming and stuff like that. So it's a lot easier to clean, and in that instance, doing it twice a week is only going to make your process more efficient. And I would say too, like the satin look of graphene tire dressing, I love that too. I'm sort of sacrificing my initial application of being a little bit more shiny for the protection, and then probably the next time I go to clean it and wash it, that intensity of shine will reduce. Every time you wash it again, the intensity of shine will continue to reduce, but the richness in the dark black color will sustain. And then, you know, the one thing I would say is like, after you've washed it multiple times, you'll see it almost gets splotchy because you're removing portions of the tire armor. So like in certain areas, you'll still see it. And all it just takes is kind of like what we did today, where you just scrub it extra, you know, 2 or 3 extra times, and that will help get it off, and then you can do whatever you want after that. But
Dan says, do you want to how long you should wait before driving on the tires once it's applied.
Yeah, how long should you wait before driving on your tires? I would give it, Dan could correct me on this, but I would give it like an hour maybe. You know, I think the reason why we say don't drive it to let it cure is because you don't know what you're about to go drive through. You could go drive through a puddle, you could go drive through sprinklers that are on. Before it's all the way cured, any moisture or water on this is going to it's going to affect the look of it and the curing process. So, you know, again, this is like an acrylic base. It's like Elmer's glue is the best thing I could compare it to. So like you got to give it time to cure. And realistically, like if you wanted, like probably what I would do in this, I'm not going to do it right now, but in this case, what I would end up doing is I would finish the front tire, and then I would finish the back tire, and then I would flip my car around. So now these are exposed to the sun, and that's going to expedite the curing process, and then I can apply the tire armor to the other tires that are now in the shade. So that's probably what I would end up doing. So hope that helps. I just like having nice, dude, that like look at my car. My car is not even remotely clean. And if you just look at it, it looks like my whole car is clean because the wheels and tires are clean and dressed. You know, you look at the back, it looks dirty. You look at the front, my car looks clean. It's like there's just something about cleaning wheels and tires and having them looking perfect that just like it sets off the rest of your car. It's like having clean and polished dress shoes when you go to like a wedding or something. Your suit might have some lint on it, but because you have polished shoes, people are gonna be like, yeah, that guy looks good. Which I always look good at a wedding. Not to brag. Okay. Chris just gave me bad news. His battery on his phone's about to die, so.
Sorry, guys.
But, no, I don't know. Throw some comments in here. Tell me what you guys think of this. I mean, I think it's a very unique product. It's not something that you use every wash. You know, and again, I think for me, this is more, obviously, like right now, the look is amazing. But for me, it's more the long term of the protection to it. And I think even if you ask Dan can comment on here. I think Dan likes this product a lot because, again, making your detailing process more efficient makes it more enjoyable. And so if you can put a layer of protection on your tires like this, what it's going to do in the long run is let you take less time to clean your wheels and tires, which gets you into cleaning your paint more, and the whole process is just more efficient. So having a ceramic coating on your car, having a ceramic coating on your wheels, in your fender wells, and having protection on your tires, anytime there's a layer of protection on the whole car, it just is that much easier. So that's really the part that I really like about this product specifically. And, you know, kudos to Chris, our chemist, who developed this product by adding a look to it as well, really like sets it off and makes it look amazing. So I don't know, I hope today was helpful. I think the application part, again, the more generally in car care, when you're doing a process, the more work you put up front to prep the car before you do protection, which the protection part doesn't even take that long, the better it is. So I took extra time today to clean this tire multiple times. I did it 3 times. One round was spraying it directly onto the tire, not rinsed. The second time I rinsed that wheel and tire cleaner off, but I also rinsed the wheel as well as the fender. And then I cleaned both the wheel and the tire again. The foam started to get more white, and then I did one last cleaning of the tire using the trim and lug nut brush to get in the nooks and crannies to make sure it was right before I did the tire armor. And you saw tire armor goes on pretty easy. You know, it takes a little bit extra time than doing like tire shine or anything else, but the effectiveness is really the good part of this product. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Well, thanks for letting me do this because I've been meaning to do this anyway. So I hope today was helpful, and then we'll catch you guys next week. Maybe we can get into the towel and pad cleaning, maintenance type of stuff. And then we also had some other ideas of, you know, how to use spray coating with the regular coating as like a application agent or pairing. So A lot of cool ideas. We also have a lot of stuff coming up next week and the week beyond. So keep an eye out on our website, on our social media. You'll see a lot of movement start to happen with our team and a lot of stuff starting to happen. So some new products that are coming out that I'm very excited about. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.